Sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports News here live on this Saturday morning here in the Midwest. We got most of the crew with us here this morning. Happy to be here. We got our man T1, somebody else, man of many hats, City League TV. The guy got so many titles because he's the awesome dude that we know him to be. Our man T1, Mr. Claiborne. How you feeling this morning?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good, my brothers. I'm good. Hey, we still celebrating Happy Juneteenth. We still Juneteenthing it around here. Happy Juneteenth, my brothers. We're going to keep that going, man, all year long. But it's great to be here.
Facts. Definitely happy Juneteenth. We also got our man FanDuel Zaya of the FanDuel Zaya podcast. How you feeling this morning, FanDuel?
I'm good, man. I'm out running errands. I'm in the car with my dad, man, helping him out with some things. But it ain't stopping the show, you know what I mean? And we back with another banger.
Y'all definitely don't look like y'all in the Corvette, brother.
Nah, we ain't in the bed.
And we also got our man Post Game of the Post Game podcast. How you feeling this morning, bro?
Hey, it's a beautiful morning, and the Midwest got something to say.
Midwest definitely got something to say.
Right.
Let's not waste no time, y'all. Let's get right into some of this. What's happening college football? The name of our show on Saturday mornings for at least the next couple of weeks until we get into the college football season. How important should a team strip of schedule be considered for the CFP?
Man, you know what? When they first created the committee, man, they said the most thing that was going to be weighed is the eye. So I think a lot of things got to be true. You got to play a tough schedule, but you also got to be able to tell with your eyes who is the better teams on the field. You know what I mean? So, I mean, strength of schedule, like we seen Indiana last year um, play what we all thought was a weak schedule. Um, but I still thought Indiana was a deserving team to get into the playoff. Y'all, some of y'all on the channel didn't believe that as well. But that's why we have a committee, and it's not just a one person making the decision too as well. I think you got to weigh all factors though, but strength of schedule should hold more weight if you got like teams.
I agree with it. I agree with it. Definitely, that strength of schedule is very, very important. But sometimes we don't know how strong that schedule is. You have teams that start off ranked, and you play those teams and beat them. But as the season goes on, that that ranked team isn't ranked anymore, and now that's not such of a good win as it did look in the beginning of the season. So, it's really, it goes by the eye, and it's a week by week thing. You may be ranked today, you're not ranked tomorrow. But rankings is still going to be important. It's just they really have to start taking their uh, teams that are no longer ranked, that were ranked when teams beat them. You can't take that into consideration no more.
Yeah, guys, strength of schedule is a big factor where we determine how good these teams are each season. More importantly, for me, in the season, strength of schedule is what we should be basing, especially college playoff seedings off of, and whether or not you make the college football playoffs. So, strength of schedule, the eye test, you can't go wrong with the eye test. Like T1 was saying, you could look, your schedule could look soft on paper or great and grueling on paper at the beginning or even in the middle. But at the end of the season, when it's all said and done, that's when we really want to look at strength of schedule.
Yeah, I also agree with a lot that everyone has said. I mean, the strength of schedule should definitely be considered. It should be high on the list when you're making this decision for who's going to make the college football playoffs. But there's so many other variables that go into it, man. Did you beat a really good team and then they lost their quarterback? There's so many things that you have to look at, man. That I think strength of schedule should be there. It should be high on the list. But there's just so much that that committee has to look at, man. It's kind of hard to really piece it all together because we seen what happened last year with some of the teams who didn't have a strong strength of schedule that got in. They really didn't fare well. And I think this year the committee is going to look at that a lot heavier than they did last year as far as that strength of schedule is concerned. Man, I just hope that they get it right. I hope that they get it right. But we all know that somebody's going to be left out that feels like they're deserving to get in. Around 78, is NCAA back to square one with CFP format? Do y'all think they're back to square one with the CFP format?
I think so. I think so. I think it's let's take a look at it again and see what we can do to make it even better, and then let's leave it alone. And I think it should just be the 16 teams, just like every other division has been doing for the past, I don't know how many years.
Yeah, I think they working out the kinks. They kind of learning how to fly the airplane as they fly. I agree with T1. We need to get it to 16. It's under construction right now, but I'm okay with the format. I would like to see it expand a few more teams, and after that, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we at square one. I think it's steadily progressing to get to where we need to be at a final product. I wouldn't be surprised next year if we explored the NFL setup before we got to 16. Just to see how it looked. But I like where we at this year with the reseeding format and the 1 through 12 all the way through. So we're gonna see how it play out.
Yeah, I think as fans, we understood that it wasn't a finished product. And even though it's not at square one because they already did one 12-team playoff and had some things in place that they looked at, they also understand as a committee we got to tweak some things. Some things might happen in one season that might not happen in another season. And I think that that committee is willing to do whatever it takes to try to get the best 12 teams. And when it goes to 16, they're going to do everything they can to get the best 16 teams. We might not be at square one, but we're pretty close. What's
Yeah,
up?
I ain't gonna really say like they said, like not and I'm quite sure none of us are really saying it, but I'm not saying like we're literally back at square one because we already did the BCS, the 14, now the 12 team, because they all still the same people. You know what I mean? They just changed the name, just like the Marquee and the Pure and all that other good stuff. But yeah.
What's your thoughts on Wisconsin filing a lawsuit against Miami for poaching Xavier Lucas, who was under contract at Wisconsin? What's your thoughts on that whole process? Is it good? Is it bad? Should it have happened? Should it not have happened? What's your thoughts?
They need a commission for things like this. It shouldn't be up to the school to have to file a lawsuit. They should already investigate every transfer. Like I think every transfer needs to go under investigation. So I mean the lawsuit, this is setting precedent. This is the first lawsuit of its kind. So this is gonna set the table for the decision, the outcome of this lawsuit. It's gonna set the table for a lot more things to come.
Go ahead, post game.
Yeah, man, we talked a lot about tampering and how that needs to be under control. I don't know how far Wisconsin is going to get with this lawsuit because from what I hear, the young man entered the transfer portal and they didn't allow his name to show up in the transfer portal. So it seems to be some stickiness on Wisconsin's side. and I don't think they're going to get very far on this lawsuit. But 100%, fellas, they need to get this tampering thing under control real fast.
That's definitely a part that's out of order and out of whack in college football, college sports. They definitely need to get it under control, just like they need to get a whole lot of things under control, or it's all just going to spiral out of control the deeper that we get down into it. So they need to hurry up and get some regulations going on in these universities before, it's just everybody just running willy-nilly all over the place.
Yeah, Haran 78 on that other question. And also what we're saying right now feels like the NCAA is watered down and very unstable right now. And I think all four of us on this panel agree with you on the fact that they are really watered down and they are very unstable. They are really losing their teeth when it comes to being able to control college sports. So I think that this whole thing with Wisconsin and Xavier Lucas in Miami, the kid wanted to enter the transfer portal. The minute that kid decided he wanted to enter that transfer portal, Wisconsin should have went ahead and did whatever they needed to do with his contract to void it or tell him, listen, you're not going to be able to do this because we got you under contract. And then they should have reached out to Miami or their commissioner and said, listen, Miami is doing this, this, and this. This kid is under contract here. What can you do to help us resolve this issue? I don't think it should have ever gotten to this point where they had to file a lawsuit. It should have been something that should have been handled. Now, with that being said, I think we've seen enough that we know that there need to be some other committee that handles these kind of dealings, man, so that we don't keep having this stuff happening with this so-called tampering, poaching, whatever they want to label it. We got to get this thing fixed, man, because it should not be happening in college football. It's really putting a stain on the game. We love watching it. It's good to watch, but we don't want this other backstory stuff happening, man, because it makes it look bad.
Well, post game, what I read is different from what you kind of tapped into. They said he signed his contract with Wisconsin, and they met with him, and Miami offered him more money, and he reneged on his contract. That's what I read.
Well, even if that's so, man, college football has to get this under control. Bottom line, man, we can't have this nonsense going on.
Yeah, I feel that too. And what was that? Heron 78 had said that he liked it better with the 14 playoff. That 14 playoff, and even when they just let two teams play for a national championship, all of that stuff is just like ridiculous. With the amount of Division I football teams you have out here, to say that you're only going to take the top 4 out of all of those universities, making it extremely hard just to even have an opportunity to figure out who the real national champion is. So just a 14, absolutely not. Would I would be cool with the 12 team. We could still roll with the 12 team, but I believe it should be 16, just like everybody else in college football.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. In this age of NIL and transfer portal, only having 4 teams competing for the crown is ridiculous to me.
I mean, I think this past one with these 12 teams really proved both of y'all's point that, listen, if it would have only been 2 or 4 teams, the eventual national championship, the best team in college football would not even have been there. The team that they played would not have been there either. So you got 2 teams that would have been left out that played for the national championship had it been in those same 2 formats. Now, I do agree with him. Teams were forced to make it mean more. They had to play a different style of football because they knew that they was only going to have X amount of games to play. Now, when you know you got to have a long, grueling 16, 17-game season, you sort of coach different, you sort of play different, and I'm quite sure that Ohio State would have probably tried to figure out something else in that Michigan game if they knew that there was a chance that they wouldn't make the college football playoff. They might have brought in a different quarterback since what's the name looked like he was shook up. You just never know when it's only 2 or 4 team strategies change. Now that we know that it's 12, you have a little bit more leeway to work with your strategy, man, to really get your team where it needs to be. But I think 12 or 16 is perfect because you really, and you saw it this past season, like I said, you really got to see who were the best teams in college football. And the eventual champion, Ohio State, was definitely the best team in college football last year.
Hey,
Absolutely.
how absolutely ridiculous was it for if you lose one game, your national championship hopes are just done. Like that was just dumb. You know what I mean? That was dumb. Like that was a bummer to me for college football. You lose one game, you're just out of it. And I'm not just talking about my team. There were a lot of teams who lost one game, and now your national title hopes are just gone. That's crazy. Like if you're not perfect, you don't get the opportunity. I don't even roll like that in life.
Yeah. Just real quick, if you whether you listening live or you listening to the playback, smash the like button.
For sure, for sure. He was saying that even in this 12-team format, honestly, only 4 teams would have been really viable for that championship. That would have been good enough teams to win it. But 2 of them would have been left out. The 2 that played in the national championship, those 2 would have been left out because they would have took Oregon, Georgia. They probably even would have took Boise State and Penn. Who was the other team in there? Maybe Penn State, yeah, or might even Notre Dame might have even got in there too, because they would only had that one loss. But I think that there was a really good chance that some really good teams would have been left out of that college football playoff, man, if they didn't have 12.
And that's one thing we're not accounting for. Like week to week, when we seen these teams drop on the playoff show, the selection show, it would have looked different if it was 4 teams because they was accounting for them extra spots. So maybe even the Big 12 team could have been higher in the rankings just because they didn't want to leave the Big 12 out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. How successful of a season are you giving Bill Belichick? What will be the North Carolina's win ceiling this season? How many games do you think North Carolina going to win? And how successful of a season will Bill Belichick have in season 1 at North Carolina?
I think they can get back to a bowl game. All you got to get is 7 wins. 7 wins, 6, 7 wins is realistic for me.
Oh man, this is one of the more interesting teams heading into the season. With Bill Belichick trying to be a college football head coach, legendary NFL head coach. To me, it all depends on how good that defense can be. They added a lot of transfers through the transfer portal. And so how quick can they get that defense to mesh? I like teams that come in the season with chemistry on defense, especially. They got the transfer quarterback, Gio Lopez, who was successful last year at his former school. How fast can they get them up to speed? They don't have the toughest schedule. They do play Clemson, but they don't play Georgia Tech this year. They don't play Florida State. Florida State could be improved. They start off the year at home against TCU. I don't think they're going to win that game. But it really all depends on how fast Coach Belichick can get them up to speed. I think they'll start off slow and kind of gradually get better as the season goes on. But I think their ceiling could be, 7, 8 games.
I about have their their ceiling around 8 because they were 6-6 in the regular season last year and they lost their bowl game, so 6-7. And I believe that Coach Belichick can improve that team by at least, 2 to 3 wins. Although they lost some players too. I know we picked up their one of their defensive ends who's supposed to be really, really good. So, they lost some players, they added some players, and they added a Hall of Fame coach. So I'm looking at 8 games, like really almost at least 8 games, and if he can get them young men to play, he could get 9 or 10, or maybe even possibly be one of those surprise teams that pop up next year.
I think he can make a bowl game. 7 wins maybe might be the ceiling for me. I don't know if he can quite get to 8. He's lost a lot, even though he poured a lot in that portal. He lost a lot, and he lost some veteran guys who I think would have really helped him had they stayed. I think in his first year, if he can get to 7 wins, that'll be a successful season for him at the University of North Carolina. So I'm gonna give him 7 wins. Hopefully, he can turn that thing around, man. Because I want North Carolina's football program to be relevant in the ACC, so that way the ACC conference can be one of those conferences that can get ahead of the Big 12. Because right now, I think the Big 12 might be ahead of them.
For sure.
Yeah, North Carolina in the past has had a couple of years where they played some really good football. Can Coach Belichick get them back there? Because they played some good football in the recent years. They haven't just been a basketball school.
Yeah, they be having players come out of there.
If you can land you a decent quarterback, you can always have success, man. And I think that's the key for him. If he can get him a quarterback like they've had in the past, man, when they had good seasons, he can get back in there and make some things happen.
Hey, Gio Lopez could be that quarterback, my guys. He had some success at South Alabama last season with throwing and running the ball. So we'll see.
That's what I'm saying. Could they be one of those surprise teams? We have to remember coaching is just as important as playing. If you can get the coach to put them boys in position and have them move like chess pieces as you want them to move, you can have success out here. And Coach Belichick knows that.
Absolutely. Do y'all think Coach Belichick, the NFL pedigree, the young tenderoni, do you think that's a distraction for the team?
Not at all.
I think it brings swagger to the team, bro.
Yeah. We talking Coach Belichick, man. We talking stone face. Yeah. Don't even, and he gonna have them programmed. Don't even worry about it, man. Y'all coaches, hey, I still got a little something in the tank, so I know y'all ain't mad at me. Make them laugh. You know what I mean? Like, hey, don't even worry about none of that. Let's go play some football and win some games and show them what North Carolina football is about. Now, I can hear some of those speeches right now, man, but see, y'all done got me all geeked up for the season already again, man. Let me chill out, man.
Hey, you know what though? It's different when you walk into that locker room and both of your hands is filled with Super Bowl rings, man. The kids are gonna really respect that.
Man, you trying to tell me that ain't worth another, 2, 3, extra wins from the previous season? It got to be worth something.
Yeah. Thanks for Ron78 for subscribing, man, and thanks for the comment. We appreciate you tuning in with us, and we definitely hope that you with us next Thursday at 7:45 when we talk Big Ten football.
Moss B in the building too. Moss B, what up, bro? What it do?
What's up, Moss Bird?
Up in the sports. He out on the road or somewhere or something, ain't he?
Yeah, he's going to a wedding. I think he's in Athens. Yeah. It's Barry Sanders' college football rushing record, the most unbreakable record in college football.
Oh man, you know what? Man, that Barry Sanders did that record in 11 games when he obtained the record. They back then they didn't count the bowl game stats, so that's even more impressive. Is it unbreakable? I'm one to think that all records are meant to be broke, but man, the kind of workhorse you need. We seen that last season with Ashton Genty as he got close, but you're gonna need a guy who really totes that ball. I'm talking about 20, at least 25 touches a game or rushing attempts. So that's a very impressive record. I don't know if anybody gets the kind of volume that Barry Sanders got, back in the day in the 80s at Oklahoma State. So is it breakable? I'm not, man. You need a lot of volume, and even if you do break it, you breaking it in so many more games than he had that I don't know if it's going to be as impressive as to what Barry Sanders did.
It's gonna be hard as we saw last year, but it's gonna be a player that comes from one of these little small schools that when it does get broken, it won't be broken from a power five, power four running back. It won't be broken by one of them because you would just you be beat up because that just means that you ran the ball a whole lot and you ran against good defenses and you'd be beat up and you wouldn't make it. But I think it will come from one of those players at a smaller school that just keep popping them 300-yard games. Just because they just found out that they're above this league. So I mean, it'll be hard, but it can be done, but it's sure enough looking like it can't.
Yeah, no, I think the most unbreakable record in college football got to be that 47 game win streak that OU went on. I don't think we're gonna see nobody win that many games in a row no more with the setup that we got now. So you might see that record stand for 100 years.
How about
But with
yardage
Genty,
or touchdown wise?
huh?
Let's say, how about yardage or touchdown wise?
They said record. They said record, and
Oh,
that's
yeah,
not what the. I'm just
yeah.
answering the question. We
No,
talk about most
that's right.
unbreakable.
Yeah.
Huh?
I was just saying, give us your yardage or touchdown record that you may think may be more impossible to break, or if that rushing record is the one that's just the most hardest.
Well, no, I think that rushing record is going to get broken. It was too close last year. This is the first time we've seen the expanded playoff and the 12 team was set up where teams can play 16, 17 games a year, and it was that close already. So, do I think Ashton Genty is a Adrian Peterson type running back? No, I don't. And once we get one of them studs that come, one of them generational dudes, that record is getting broken. I'm almost guaranteeing it's going to get broken.
Okay.
Barry playing at an unfair advantage. He only had 11 games, like Post said. These dudes going to touch 16, 17 games, bro.
Yeah, but they have to spread those carries out now too because the season is so long. And if we get one of those workhorses, they're not toting the ball that much. There's going to be another a workhorse right behind them, and you know it.
I mean, I just seen Genty do it.
Yeah, when you talk about a power four school, it ain't gonna happen for a power four school running back to do it because they're gonna have to share. They got aspirations. They're gonna have to share carries. But at the group of six, they gonna find a guy, man, eventually because the group of six is even going down to tier 2 now that some of their players are getting plucked into the group of four. I mean the power four. So I think eventually that's a record that could be broken. It's going to be hard to do, but I agree with FanDuel there. The hardest one has got to be a 47-game win streak. If you're going to play, and we all probably agree that there's probably never going to be another undefeated national champion. It may happen, but it's now becoming more and more unlikely with 16, 17 game schedules, man, for to win the national championship.
Yeah.
So to win 47 in a row, that will probably be unbreakable. I want to give my man Mossberg a little bit of love right here. And his Florida State Seminoles got a record of the most top 5 finishes at the end of the season from 1987 to 2000. They finished ranked in the top 5, and that's a record for his Florida State Seminoles under Bobby Bowden. So I wanted to give him a little shout out because I know his Florida State Seminoles been down and he need a little bit of love right now.
That was they was them boys back then. That's when Florida was paying all of the money. Florida State, Miami. That's when they was paying out that money back then. They weren't playing around. They was not playing around. So yeah, shout out.
Should college football move to start of the opening season up 1 week to week 0? Would you like to see them move the season up 1 week?
Yeah, but only because of personal reasons. Because I'm ready to see some football. But I don't think it needs to be touched. We should be going and playing deep down into the winter time. Shoot. So I don't see no reason for it to be touched other than I'm just wanting to see some football earlier. But nah, don't touch it because we're trying to push it back and trying to stay out that cold. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I think they're trying to avoid the hoodie and long sock weather, man, as much as they can. You know how the Midwest do. Not necessarily. I mean, week 0 we got some games anyway, but nothing huge. I'm just gonna be excited because I want to see some helmets clash, so some big hits, some touchdowns and whatnot. But I don't think it necessarily needs to be touched.
Yeah, I think we should move it up. The Power Four should start making everybody schedule games in week 0 to start off, just for transfer portal purposes until we get that figured out. Because the season going into mid-January is not good for that whole portal setup. So the more time we can buy for that, the better off that portal will look. If we're gonna continue that portal at least.
Who cares about the portal? I care about them playing football during football season and winning championships when it's freezing cold outside.
I hear you, but what's 1 week gonna do for the weather? Like, what are we talking about? They still gonna be playing cold football.
The way the weather changes, you may luck up and get some sun that week. You just never know.
I would normally say that FanDuel Zaya has been looking over my shoulder at my notes, but since we haven't been working in the same building over the last 3 weeks, I can't say that. But I definitely believe they should move it up a week simply because they're trying to figure out this whole transfer portal thing. They're trying to figure out if they can get another week maybe of rest for some of these players that's going into the college football playoffs. It's a lot of variables that I think that are out there that they're looking at moving it up a week because it might make better sense for what they all got, what all they got going on right now with trying to figure out the transfer portal, 16-team playoff. All of those things take up some time during the season, and we always arguing about this freaking spring transfer portal. All the coaches want one portal. They want it to be sometime in January. And I think if you move the schedule up a week, you can sort of get a better outlook on how that can happen. So I think FanDuel Zaya either was he got a camera in my house looking at my notes, or he's just a smart brother. Either one.
It should only be one portal window. What it do, Moss B? Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, good to see you, bro. I don't know if your connection is all the way there or not. You kind of shaky right now.
Your reception bad.
Yeah, your connection is bad. So Haran 78 is saying the SEC don't want to come up north and play in cold and snow. Hell, OSU try using weather excuse versus Michigan. You'll throw that in. How do y'all feel? Do y'all think the SEC or teams from down south are really afraid to come up north during the cold months to play against some of those smash mouth teams like a Notre Dame, a Michigan, Ohio State during those winter months? Do you think that they really are worried about that?
Absolutely. They saw what happened. They saw what happened when them boys came up north in this cold. And I think the college football, I'm trusting the committee. I think the committee going, they may try to help them boys not come up north because they like everything down south in the sunny state. They like the weather beautiful and the sunshine and all that. We grind, we gritty and dirty up here up north.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think, you got to be the Midwest. We just built different, man. We get every single, spring, summer, fall, winter. We got all that. So, like he said, we gritty, we strong. We can play football like you don't want to play football. But whether it's, in the Midwest or down south, we seen Notre Dame play Georgia in fine weather. And we put that belt to what. So, it's even worse if you come up here in those months. So
yeah, I mean, bro, weather is weather to me, man. I don't know. I grew up in Columbus playing football and the same type of stuff. You feel me? So I don't know, dude. You put on a long sleeve and you put on some gloves, bro. And you double up your socks.
That hit different for kids who if it's 65 degrees where they come from, they freezing cold. It hit different, bro. Some of them just now saw snow for the first time.
yeah, it's crazy because you'll see a lot of those teams, come out for warm up shirtless and it's freezing.
Man, I feel like Isaiah Field, man. It's football, bro. You ain't coming to nobody's home. I don't care if it's hot, cold. I don't care what it is. You ain't coming up there talking about the elements. Oh, I don't want to play because no, hell no, man. You go out there and you go play physical football because the reality is the SEC play physical football, the Big Ten play physical football. You go see physical football no matter what the weather is. You're going to see it. Now, is it an advantage for the team that practice and plays in that cold weather and is used to it? Yes, it is. Just like it's more of an advantage for them to bring a Midwest team down in that hot-ass sun and heat. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. Those players are going to go out there and they're going to put on long sleeves. They're going to have whatever they need to have on the sideline to make sure that they are good. And I think you're still going to get a competitive game regardless of the weather. Just like I said, if Steve Sarkisian can bring Ohio State down there in that heat at 12 o'clock, you think Ohio State going to fold because of that? No, they're not. They're going to play just as well as they would, even though it might be an advantage for Texas because they've been playing in that heat like that. That don't mean that they're going to win the game.
Yeah, but that weather may matter. Weather may matter for somebody else. It may not matter for Ohio State because we coming in as one of the best conditioned teams that they've ever seen in their lives. But now for another team to go down there and it may be 95 degrees, that's going to make a difference. They're not going to be able to move like they used to moving. They may not be able to breathe like they used to breathing. So it's going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference.
Yeah, I'm saying it will be something, but don't think that they're gonna lay down because of the.
Oh no, they're gonna lay down. They're gonna give it a try, and if they can't handle the elements, it's gonna show on the scoreboard.
Yeah, but that's why I'm cool. I'm cool with with the on campus playoff games because them elements should be a factor. That I mean, like in the NFL, we always see the Bills go to Miami early in the year, and we always see Miami go to the Bills later on in the year. That's because of the elements, bro. You know what I mean? You got to let the elements play a factor.
Yeah, I mean, it's football. I mean, that's the way it should be played. No matter what the conditions are, you should go out there and play in it. I mean, we all know we live in the Midwest, so we all know what it's like to play football in the cold weather. I'm a Midwesterner, and I didn't like it, but I was okay playing in it, but I didn't like it.
Had one of my best games in the snow.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the week 4 schedule and the teams that are going to be playing and matching up during that week 4. And let me get your prediction on who you think will win, what you think that game might look like, and how important is that week 4 game in comparison to the other 3 games, the other 3 weeks games earlier before that. So we got Syracuse at Clemson. How important is this game for these two teams?
I mean, we're gonna see if Syracuse carry some of that momentum that they had last year with Honda McCord. Clemson gonna pop them. They ain't going into Clemson doing nothing in that game. I expect that defense from Clemson to be a top 10 defense. That offense should be humming by this time. Syracuse has no chance to win this game at all, and I don't even finish in top 5 in the ACC for real. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree too. I don't think this is going to be big as people think it's going to be. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting to see if Syracuse can have a season, comparable to what they had last year. Last year wasn't great, but Kyle McCord got them a few big wins there last season. And but I think this is an easy win for Clemson at home.
Yeah, fellas, I think Clemson is coming into the season as one of the best teams in college football. I definitely think their quarterback could be a Heisman candidate. I definitely think they're a playoff team. And Clemson is looking scary coming into the season. I don't think Syracuse has much to offer as far as a challenge when it comes to the game at Clemson. But I think it's going to be an old-fashioned beatdown right now. I do think Syracuse has a chance to be a decent team with Steve Angeli transferring from Notre Dame and this being their coach's second year. They got a bit of a buzz going around. So I think Syracuse might be a little better than what people think, but I don't think they're gonna have much for Clemson.
Yeah, I think Clemson thump them as well. I just hope that they don't look past them and make this a game. I need them to go out there and show that they're the Clemson that is trying to make it to the college football playoff and get one of those top 4 spots. I don't want them to have a let off, especially after playing first game. I think they play LSU. If they can get that win, they should go ahead and maul Syracuse and not be looking ahead to whoever their opponent is the week after. What's your thoughts on Florida at Miami?
That's gonna be a banger. That should be a banger. That right there should be a banger. That's a good one right there. That's a coin toss. That's a coin toss to me. That point spread probably gonna be 1.5 or something. 3. It definitely ain't gonna be more than 3.
Yeah, I agree. It should be a banger. I really like this matchup. I love when the Florida teams play each other. Florida, Miami, Florida State. Um, I got to lean Florida because the simple fact that Carson Beck is coming off an elbow injury, and even if he's okay, they let him. The doctor's okay the injury. That's a right elbow injury on your throwing arm. He get popped one good time, and What now? I I like Miami this year, but I'm not sure if Carson Beck is going to be healthy enough throughout the whole season. So Carson Beck and that elbow really worries me. He should be fine, but fellas, we just don't know. One good hit, you got a defensive end coming off the edge like a bat out of hell and cracking one good time, and it's a wrap. So we'll see, but I have to favor Florida in this game.
Man, this is a must-win game for Florida. This is a part of their brutal stretch that they got at the beginning half of the season where they play LSU the week before at LSU. Then they travel to Miami. Then they got Texas at home. They got Texas at the station. So, I mean, if they lose this game, they could possibly be 2-3 to start the beginning of the season. Because they're not going to be favored in 3 out of 4 of them games. So, I mean, right now I'm going to lean towards Miami because I just don't see Florida going into a rivalry game and going on the road and winning. I'm just not I'm not big on Billy Napier. I think Billy Napier do end up 2-3, get fired after that 5th game.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. Wow.
Big being fired.
That's a big one right there, Zay. That's a big one. Neither one of these teams can afford to have 2 losses at this point. They both got pretty good matchups before this game comes in week 4. Neither one of them can afford to get that second loss. I think that Florida can run the football well enough that they can control the clock and keep Carson Beck on the sideline, or Carson Beck that we don't know how he's going to play coming off of that injury that he sustained in that SEC championship game. I'm going to give a nod to Florida. They got a stretch that they're going to come up on, man, after that LSU game. Then they got Miami and so on and so forth, as FanDuel said. They cannot afford to have a second loss at that point if they lose to LSU too. So they're going to have to make something happen, man. Otherwise, I think that this team will fold up its tent and Billy Napier will probably be on his way out at the end of the season. But hopefully they can play well enough against LSU to where they have confidence enough to beat Miami in that game week 4.
Hey,
South Carolina.
My pop said I was tripping, but I was saying Billy Napier was going to get fired, go 2-3 in that first 5, but his seat was hot at the end of last year.
Yeah,
he already planned on loose threads.
Yeah, your dad is correct, though. You tripping.
Mm-mm.
But, I mean, we know that he is on the hot seat. The reason why I don't think that will happen is because they got some recruits out there, man, that them dudes will jump shit if they see that the guy that has been the coaches that have been recruiting them is not going to be there. And they've been doing pretty good on the recruiting trail so far for 2026. If he gets fired at that point, they're going to lose some major dudes. And they don't want that to happen to where these guys decide to go to a Miami or Florida State or Georgia or Texas or anywhere else where they got guys that they're battling with other universities for. So I think that wouldn't be a smart move for them. That's one of the reasons why they assured everybody that he was coming back at the end of last season, earlier in the season, because they didn't want to lose recruits and lose momentum. And I think they would if they were to fire him after week 5, 6, or 7 if he was to be 2-3 or whatever or whatnot. What's your thoughts on South Carolina at Missouri? Or you want to say something else about that?
Yeah, I mean, earlier you do it, the more you recover from. You do it after the recruits is gone. Ain't no recovering that. It's over. Your recruiting class, your whole recruiting cycle is going to be shot.
Yeah, that could be a fact too. That could be a fact too. What's your thoughts on South Carolina at Missouri? Will Missouri be a team that can be good enough to give South Carolina a challenge, seeing that they're coming to St. Louis to play?
Man, I'm not a believer in Missouri. I know this game is on the road, and I've just never been a man. Missouri, they hype Missouri up every year for some reason, and they always fall flat. I don't think, but South Carolina has lost a lot of. What's that?
No, go ahead.
South Carolina has lost a lot of production. I know a lot of us on this podcast are big on Lenore Sellers. I'm super big on Lenore Sellers. I think he can really put this team on his shoulders and take them far. They got such a tough schedule, man. They gotta win this game. So I'm taking South Carolina in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking South Carolina as well. As you all know, that's my QB. Sellers out there. I have a lot of belief in him, man. I believe he's going to have a great season as long as he can stay healthy. But Missouri could easily go into that game 3-0. So, and with a little confidence that they can get past Kansas and they have at least one team that they can say that they actually played and beat. But if they can't get by Kansas, look for them to get shellacked by South Carolina.
Yeah, man, listen, Missouri didn't play nobody last year. They came in the season ranked. That's why they stayed in the rankings all year, because they had one of them bummy schedules. They going to get torched this year with the schedule that they got. They going to get torched. Man, they probably going to finish in the bottom half of the SEC this year.
They don't have a Missouri, though. Missouri don't have a bad, hard schedule. They got South Carolina, Alabama, and I guess if you say in Texas A&M and Mississippi State and Oklahoma and Arkansas.
Bro, they play Auburn.
All of them is the mid-level SEC team. But all of them mid-level SEC teams. Bama got to see if they about to move to mid-level, if they going to get back to where they supposed to be. All of them ain't middies. Ain't they all in there?
Oklahoma, Auburn, and Bama and South Carolina should all finish in the top half of the SEC.
Oh, okay. If Missouri,
all four of them, they're gonna lose all four of them games.
If Missouri stays true to where they've been, haven't their records been pretty good the past? Hasn't their record been better than these teams' record the past couple of seasons?
They ain't been playing nobody.
Okay, well, they going to still play nobody, and they going to play these teams to where, just like all SEC teams, it's 8 victories on here somewhere.
Bro, they lost by 30 to Texas A&M last year. 30.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think they get beat up on. They got the
same South Carolina.
Yeah, they got the same schedule that they had last year. Everybody in the SEC is playing the same schedule that they had the year before. So they're not going to be any good. I think South Carolina going to handle them easily in their stadium. I don't think it's going to be any issues. As long as Lenore Sellers is healthy, they're going to roll Missouri in that one. What's your thought about Auburn at Oklahoma?
I'll take Oklahoma in this game. I think, Mateer is a dark horse Heisman candidate, and I like for them to get the victory at home, and they better in that SEC gauntlet.
Yeah, Auburn still has they have to prove that they can play football again. So I'm gonna go with Oklahoma too.
Yeah, I got Oklahoma in this game. I think Oklahoma going to upset some people this year. I think they're going to beat Texas. I think they're going to finish probably with 3 or 4 losses in that SEC. But I think this is going to be one of the better teams in the SEC. They just needed a quarterback. They just needed somebody that could spin that ball for real. I think that defense is going to be just as good as it was last year.
You said they're going to have 3 or 4 losses, and one of those ain't to Texas.
Nah, I think they beat Texas this year.
Exactly. So I'm saying you saying they're gonna have three or four losses.
This ain't the Big Ten where it's top heavy.
So who's gonna beat them? That if they can beat Texas, they can beat anybody.
It's a week to week matchup, man. You just because you could beat somebody don't mean you could beat the next team. That's not how it play out. Like that's not how it ever plays out, bro. Like unless you talking about the top team in the conference, it's gonna be 6 or 7 teams in the SEC in the middle of the SEC that any given Saturday, each one of them will beat the other team. That's how I feel about the SEC. It ain't top heavy.
Yeah.
And I think Texas lose 2 games next year. Well, really 3. I think they lose 3 games, but 2 in the SEC. He don't like that.
He don't like that at all. What you gonna say about that?
I mean, his daddy, who knows him better than any of us on this TV, already said he's tripping. So you know what I mean.
Okay.
He's tripping. I mean, that's all he's doing.
Okay. Hey. So you think it's blasphemous that y'all could lose to OU, who owned y'all for the last 2 decades, and that y'all could lose to Georgia and Ohio State? That's blasphemy.
We could possibly lose to Georgia and Ohio State. We are not losing to Oklahoma. Listen, Oklahoma has their offensive line may not be any good. He don't got nobody to throw to. Our defense is going to be way, way, way too good. They lost a lot on defense, too. Now, their defense is still going to be good. Now, don't get me wrong. Their defense is still going to be good. Offensively, they ain't going to be able to do enough to beat Texas, in my opinion. I mean, you seen 49-0, and then they did win with Dylan Gabriel, a game that Texas should have won, but they didn't. And then last year you saw 34-3. So that's 2 games they didn't score a touchdown.
Hey, I just Oklahoma gave up 50 sacks last season. So they have to improve on that offensive line.
Yeah, for sure. This is a really, really interesting game, though. Auburn, they got Jackson Arnold, who was Oklahoma's quarterback at times last year, coming back to Norman, Oklahoma to play against the team that he was at one time. Will he be able to throw the football? That's been a knock on him. He can throw for 1,000 yards, but he's going to have 15 interceptions. So what is going to happen with this dude? Is he going to be able to lead an Auburn team that's going to have a really, really good running attack? Will they be able to run the ball well enough to keep Mateer on the sideline and go ahead and pull out that victory? I think this is going to be a really, really close game in Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm going to get an edge because I want Oklahoma to win this game because I want them to be undefeated when they face my Longhorns. I'm going to go with Oklahoma only for that reason, even though I don't think they're going to win it. But I'm going to pick them anyway.
Hey, Rob, you see the comment by who is that? Haran 78.
The one where he's saying OSU losing to Texas, Penn State, and Michigan, or the one?
He's a clown, bro.
Here we go. Yeah.
I want him to put his face on the screen. He keep on calling me Whoopi. I want him to put his face on the screen so I can blaze it in front of the whole world.
Oh, you don't know who that is?
Nah, that's somebody I know who that is. That Poe threw his hat or his card in traffic into his window, and he been on stream ever since.
Yeah. We're gonna have to give you a link one day, Haran 78, so you can come on and show your face, and you can have a debate with these 2 Ohio State fans right here.
I don't want to debate with him. He's too much. I'm cool. I'm a miss that one.
You gonna miss that one?
Yeah. I'm gonna miss that one. I don't want to debate with him. He talks too much. And he just talked just because he got a mouth.
Facts.
What's your
and you say he tried to clown on my brother? Nah, man.
He would never do that in person.
Do that.
He would never do that in person with me.
Yeah, we don't know you like that, my man.
Arizona State at Baylor. What's your thoughts on Arizona State at Baylor? Is Baylor going to be much better than they were last year?
Man, go ahead, Post. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, fellas. I'm taking Baylor in this game. I'm taking the upset. I'm taking Baylor. Arizona State, I think, will begin the season as the favorite. I'm taking Baylor in this game in the upset. I really like Sawyer Robertson, another of my dark horses to win the Heisman Trophy. I really like this kid at quarterback. I think their offense is going to be solid. They'll have to improve in some areas, but I think Arizona State goes to Baylor and gets upset. So I'm taking Baylor.
Yeah, I'm taking
Hey,
Baylor too. I'm done.
hey, listen. I think Baylor is going to have the #1 quarterback receiver combo in the Big 12 this year with Kobe Prentice, kid from Alabama, bro. I think they about to be dynamic. I ain't gonna lie. Baylor already known to sling that rock, but Prentice, bro, he's just a
Prentice
speed
is
demon.
a wide receiver. Is Prentice a wide receiver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he a speed demon though. You know what I mean? He a roadster. So I mean, he gonna play the slot for them. I expect them to run a lot of stuff for him. You know what I mean? To get him open, man, and just put the ball in his hands and let him play in space. I think that's gonna be a dynamic though. 1-2 combo in that Big 12. It's gonna be hard to stop them too.
Dave Aranda is going to have to get this victory right here, man. Because if Baylor has a season like they had last year or like the previous to that, they're going to fire Dave Aranda. He's going to go and be somebody's heck of a defensive coordinator. But he has to win this game, man, in order to keep his job at Baylor. He's going to have to win a lot of these games in order to keep his job at
How
Baylor.
long he been there?
He's been there for about 5 or 6 years.
They were 8-4 last year. That's respectable.
Yeah, that's respectable. That is definitely respectable. The year before that, he wasn't so well. And then the 2 years before that, they went to the Big 12 championship game, and they beat Oklahoma State, I believe. So he's going to have to make sure that he does it. Otherwise, he's going to probably lose his job. And I hope that they win this game against Arizona State. It's going to be a really good game. It's probably going to be a pick 'em game for me when that time comes, because I'm quite sure both of these teams are going to be playing really, really well. I'm going to take the home team, Baylor and Waco. I think they can make some noise. Their fans are really, really good fans, and they're going to have them stands rocking. So I'm going to go with Baylor in this one and pull up what might seem like a small upset over Arizona State.
And fellas, Baylor has to get off to a fast start. I think they start the season off with Auburn, SMU, and Arizona State. So they got to be ready.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's tough. That's tough.
That's very tough.
What's your thoughts on Texas Tech at Utah?
Nothing to see here for me. I'm taking Tech.
Yeah, that's I can't comment on that without seeing either two of these teams.
Man, I think y'all sleep on Utah a little bit, man.
Utah Utah and Texas Tech can too.
You said what, T1?
I said both of these universities play some good football. I'm just not big on them. As far when you get to going down that list of Big 12 teams, I kind of lose interest.
Well, Texas Tech, I think, is going to be up for grabs to win the conference this year. But it's hard to play in Utah. And I like that kid, Dampier, that they got from New Mexico, that quarterback. He a dual threat dude, little Minnie Mouse dude, though. He like about 5'10", if that. But he can change a game with his legs, bro. So I don't necessarily think that's gonna be an easy game, man. that crowd definitely gonna be rocking in Utah for sure. It ain't. And listen, any school in Utah, you do not want to go play there. It's just a fact. So, I mean, it just depends on what that defense look like for real. But that 12th man is definitely gonna help them in this game. But I'm gonna still take Texas Tech, but I think it's gonna be a lot closer than what people think it is, just because Utah had a bad year last year.
And Utah been playing some pretty good football for the past few years as well. So, you know, they're like you're saying, they're definitely not a team to sleep on.
Yeah, if they have a quarterback, and if this young man that FanDuel had mentioned, if he plays well enough, they could possibly beat Tech at home. Cal Willingham's team is going to play tough, man. They're going to be gritty. They're going to grind. They're going to be tough as nails, and that's not an easy place to go and play. I think Texas Tech, they spent $1 billion on the roster. I think they got enough weapons to pull out this win by a narrow margin. But, man, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be another one of those games that you're going to look at the final score and want to go watch the highlights because it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, year 4 for Coach McGuire, and with all the money they spent in NIL and revamping that offensive line, Texas Tech better beat Utah.
Yeah,
Cal Willingham is still their coach. They ain't about to fire him. That dude he's a hell of a football coach.
Hey, just a little number drop. The kid from New Mexico, the quarterback that's at Utah now, 2,700 yards, 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions was bad, but ran over 1,000 yards off 150 carries.
Chain mover. He's a chain mover.
For sure.
Michigan at Nebraska. Can Dylan Raiola pull an upset? Well, I mean, might not even be an upset because we don't know what Michigan's going to look like. What's your thoughts on this game?
It'd be an upset. Michigan to be ranked higher than Nebraska. We know that much.
That's tough for me, fellas, because I think Nebraska has been making some good moves, transfer portal, recruiting. You know, Nebraska back in the day was a really tough program. But we just don't know what Michigan is going to be this season. They got who's going to be their quarterback. We don't know how the scandals is going to affect that program this season, or if it's even going to affect that program this season. Michigan going into Nebraska, man. It's so many questions surrounding Michigan. I'm going to
be a 50 past Oklahoma. My fault, post game.
Yeah, you good, bro. I gotta give the slight edge to Michigan just because I like their talent. But again, fellas, we don't know how these scandals is going to affect Michigan. I know if Parlay Poe was on here, he would tell you 0, but we just don't know. We just don't know how their quarterback situation is going to unfold. Nebraska has been doing some good things. I want to call Nebraska in the upset, but man, I just got to see how this Michigan team is going to play out. So I got to give the ever so slight favor to Michigan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Michigan in this game. It'll be a good game, but the scoreboard won't suggest it. Probably, I think Michigan probably win this game about 17 points. This is my thing about Nebraska. I gotta see if Dylan Raiola is gonna take the next step. They threw the most line of scrimmage passes out of any program last year. You got to get the ball down the field, bro. You was the number 1 quarterback coming out of the class. We can't keep on depending on screen pass. You got to find you a guy, and you got to get that ball down the field. So if they're going to play that same type of game next year, Michigan just going to play good defense and run it down their throat. It ain't going to be nothing that Nebraska going to do with them. They're going to have to get big plays against Michigan, and that's hard to do already in the first place. So I don't see really no way Nebraska going to pull this win out against Michigan. I definitely think it's going to be closer than what the score tells us, though.
I mean, like post game said, we're gonna have to see. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this before, we even get to week 4. First of all, they're just gonna have to see what they're doing with the program, and then they have Oklahoma in week 2. So we're gonna have to see what they do against Oklahoma. If they don't get past Oklahoma, of course we know, it's gonna be a lot of chatter getting talked about. And then after they play Oklahoma, they go play Central Michigan. So how many times do you think Connor Stalions' little picture gonna be put up with him over on the Central Michigan sideline while they're playing that game? Or is that something that they take and say, y'all, hey guys, we're not gonna show that any, we're not gonna talk about that, we're gonna move on. We're gonna see. And then you have the Nebraska game, first Big Ten game on the road in Nebraska. Who knows? Nebraska may have a better quarterback on the field that day. Who knows? We're going to see. So this is going to be very interesting to see what they do with Oklahoma. That's going to tell me what they're going to do with Nebraska, because if they don't get past Oklahoma, it may be a little downward little thing for them.
If Nebraska cannot run the football against Michigan, they have no chance of winning. They got to be able to run the ball well enough to at least get some play action pass to where they can give Dylan Raiola a half a split second enough time to get the ball down the field. I agree with FanDuel. He threw way too many short passes. He probably threw more short passes than Quinn Ewers. And sometimes that just ain't enough to do it, man. And I think they got to go ahead and get that thing fixed. He came out as one of the number 1 quarterbacks in the country. You expected more from him. Hopefully they got him some help on the outside with the wide receivers. Hopefully their offensive line got better, because their offensive line was horrible the last 2 seasons. Their defense is pretty good, though. So I think their defense can keep them in the game if they can stop Michigan's running attack, which is going to be quite a test for them. But if they can run the ball, they can be in it. But I'm picking Michigan with a slight edge in this game, because I think defensively Michigan's defense will keep them in it with a chance to win it at the end. Last game we got on the docket, Washington at Washington State. I'm glad that this rivalry is still in existence and it hasn't gone anywhere. Hopefully they will continue it. What's your thoughts on this game? Washington traveling to Washington State to play the Cougars.
For the Big Ten, that's all I know on this one. Unfortunately, for the Big Ten, they can keep control of that state.
What is it?
Yeah, I'm going Washington as well. I thought their quarterback actually played really decent last year. I think they just got Big Ten players on their roster. That's going to be the difference.
Yeah, fellas, I really don't believe in Washington State at all. I think Washington wins big.
Yeah, Washington State's going, from here on out, it's probably going to be one of those teams where if you got a few talented players on your team that season, they will not be there the next season. They're going to get taken, which means you're starting all over again. They're starting all over again this year, so Washington's going to beat them pretty easily, even though I'm glad that the rivalry is still there between those two schools up there in the state of Washington. That was the last game.
They better enjoy it because they got the Buckeyes after that.
Yeah. The Buckeyes, who will have one loss on their record when they play.
They'll probably be more. The percentage is probably more likely to be undefeated at that point. If you look at all the predictions and all that, just mentioning that.
Just mentioning that. You think they're gonna be undefeated?
Yeah, most likely.
We already know it.
Hey. And I got the event security job. I'm probably going to be in the building.
All right.
Okay.
For the free. And I'm getting paid to be in the building. That's even better. That's what makes it sweet.
That's even better.
Okay, well, leave that one gate open.
Hey, don't worry. I'm going to scope it out, man. I'm going to scope the whole scenery out.
For sure. I wanted to ask y'all this, man, and this would be the last question.
Before your last question, when we tap into one more game, I think we might need to discuss.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we might need to discuss Tulane versus Ole Miss because Tulane could be the non-power 4 school to be able to get that bid into the playoffs.
If they go pop Ole Miss, they got to pop Ole Miss.
I mean, I think they could just be competitive, something like how Boise State was and win the rest of their schedule. How Boise State, went into that game with Oregon and made it look good at the final score wise. I mean, I feel like if they could just play with and show that they can play with an SEC opponent, I think it bodes well for them. Now, I don't know if they're going to win that game. I'm just saying, though, this is implicating the power.
Right.
A big implication game.
Yeah, fellas, Tulane, Mississippi. I mean, Zay is pretty good at scouting these teams, but if Tulane is what he thinks they're going to be, they might have a chance to pop Mississippi. So, how good is Mississippi going to be this year? Losing Dart and replacing Dart, I'm not sure. So, I mean, I will have to check it out some more to make a call.
I mean, and Lane Kiffin's will always have a game where he going to, do something and they're not going to look good. So it's possible, man. It could be the Tulane game. You never know. Around 78, good stuff, guys. Even though OSU fans, no disrespect, saying whoopee, all in good fun. My last question for y'all is there any team you can think of in the Power 4 that could play the Florida Gators schedule and come out undefeated after that schedule? Is there any team you believe that can go undefeated with that schedule?
I think that's a hard schedule for anybody. I'm going to say no. That's a hard schedule right there.
It's a hard no for me too.
That's a real easy one for me. Just after seeing that schedule, and as we talked earlier and just talked about the rankings, because guess what? You can have a whole lot of those teams ranked at week 1 when that schedule comes out. So to say, hey, Florida has 9 ranked opponents on their schedule. They have the strength. They have the strongest strength of schedule. So, you gotta let it play out. But like I said, it's a real easy no for me with this one, man.
Yeah, LSU, Miami, Texas A&M, and then at the end of the season, Mississippi, Tennessee, Florida State, negative.
Yeah, I think it's 2 teams that could go through this thing undefeated for real. Because I like how they're – so this is my thing. I know y'all hear me saying, all right, Texas is going to lose to they're going to lose to Ohio State, Oklahoma. That's a rivalry game, of course, and then they're going to lose to Georgia. So I do think they can lose them games, but the way the Florida schedule is set up, they got 2 cupcake games at the beginning. But they don't got nowhere close to talent that Texas or Ohio State got. So this is why I'm saying them 2 teams could do it, because them talent pools are so deep that if you just gave them a chance to figure out their kinks in them first couple weeks and they got rolling, it ain't nothing you could do to stop a buzzsaw. It's just gonna be a buzzsaw. So I mean, the 2 most talented teams could definitely tackle that schedule and sweep through that and go undefeated, in my opinion. And that's Texas and Ohio State.
Okay. You don't have much of an argument for me with that. I just like, sheesh. That's just a tough schedule, man. And I mean, you really have to be 3 for this schedule. You have to be 3 deep. You're third man up, has to be able to play some football. He can't be developing and wait until next year. He has to be ready to play some football with this schedule right here.
Facts. They got to keep Lagway healthy. Fellas, you know what? As I look at their schedule, there could be LSU, Miami, and Texas A&M could be overrated headed into the season. That's a possibility.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
On paper, it looks scary, but we can get into playoff time and be like, man, Florida didn't play really nobody outside of Texas.
That's why I said, they could start the season off and have 9 ranked teams on their schedule. And then as we go on, then it going like, oh, they only had 3. They only had 4. So it was as hard as we thought it was.
Yeah, really, and to tap in with postgame saying, you could say that about almost everybody on their schedule. Now we projecting a lot of these teams to be good, but even Tennessee, Ole Miss, what else? Who else?
Mississippi State.
I mean, even Georgia.
Florida State.
We believe in Kirby Smart when we talk Georgia, but do anybody on this board believe in Gunnar Stockton? I'll wait.
Not yet.
That's the point. So we don't even know what Georgia's going to be. I don't think Georgia's quarterback is going to be the reason why they win games. I think Nate Frazier. I've been saying Nate Frazier. They want to run the football over there anyway. But, man, that schedule, we're going to have to see after maybe week 3 will tell us a lot. Really week 1 for real after we see a couple teams. But we'll see how that schedule play out. But we definitely, my bad, no. We definitely understand that the SEC is not top heavy. It's all these teams in the middle that just got athletes and talent, bro. That's where it gets tricky.
They ain't heavy at all now. They ain't heavy at all. They just got some good. They just got some good teams in their playing field. Their playing field is leveling out, just like ours is. I mean, the playing fields are leveling out. And I just don't think it's. I mean, we still gonna have those 2 top teams, but the playing field is leveling out, man, and it's just gonna level out more and more as they get some type of control over this salary cap that they have, and everybody's able to, get their players some money. And I just hate that how it all depends on money right now. And I love the schools like Ohio State and Clemson, where those coaches have just came out and said, if you're looking for the highest bidder, don't come here. And we know we have some highest bidding schools out here that said, hey, come here, holler at us. We're going to top it. We don't do that. We want you to come and play for the Ohio State University and be a Buckeye because you want to be a Buckeye and because you want to be a part of this brotherhood that you see year in and year out. It's one of the best brotherhoods in all of college sports, in almost all of sports, period. They tight. Our boys are tight.
Yeah, I think the environments that Florida is going to have to go play in is going to play a huge role in if anybody had to run that slate. Just though some of those environments are going to be tough, man, then you're going to have some grueling battles. Even if these teams don't necessarily – we don't know if they're going to be good or not. You know that they're going to be teams that are going to be played. They're going to play well at home, or they're going to be a good contest for you at home. So that's the reason why I say probably nobody can go undefeated in that schedule. Even though I think that Ohio State has a really good team and they could possibly do it. Texas has a good team; they could possibly do it, and there might be 2 or 3 others who could possibly do it. But man, it would be tough because that's on paper it looks grueling as hell, and then the fact that you got to go in some of these stadiums, man, where the fans are going to be ruckus, they're going to be screaming, they're going to be yelling, it's going to be nonstop. So that all plays a factor in it, and I will still say no to that. But man, it'll be tough if somebody did go undefeated in that schedule. We know Florida's not going to do it though.
Right, that's for sure. Hey, Heron 78. Hey, my man. We all after seeing the playoffs, man. We all know that game last year was a dummy game, and people still dummy talking about it. So yeah, it's over with, dog. We took a L.
Dude must be a Michigan fan.
Yeah, he's a Michigan.
Right, he must be.
Yeah, he's a Michigan fan. All right, y'all. Well, that's all I have for today, man. We'll be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eventually, once the college football season starts, we'll be going at 8 a.m. We want to get done before college game day comes on at 9. So eventually, we're going to be switching over to 8 a.m. on Saturdays. We'll still continue to be at 9 a.m. on Sundays, though. So continue to follow us. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. Check us out on Tuesdays at 7:45 and Thursdays at 7:45 as well. I hope everybody has a good rest of their weekend, and we out.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.